Good evening, sir.
Good evening to all of you.
Good evening, sir.
43 participant only.
No, sir, 51.
51. So start or
Yes, sir, we can start. So,
what time will start?
yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Good evening to all of you. Today we have a in-house training. Today we have with us Mrs. Manju Sondhi. She is going to take a session about Bloom's technology, Bloom's taxonomy. It is a educational model, I can say. Educational learning objectives into certain levels are there. We can complex to simple specific simplicity. It is a kind of, I think, a lot of domains is going to cover only. The cognitive domain is there, and psychometric domain, affective domains. I think when we have in the B.Ed courses also. I know it's going to be a very nice session, and I welcome Mrs. Manju Sodhi and all the best, madam. And let us start.
Thank you so much, sir. Good evening, respected Principal, sir, Vice Principal, ma'am, Ms. Sonia Kaur, and Mrs. Shalini Vijay, ma'am, Mistress, Mrs. Harpreet Kaur, ma'am, and a very pleasant good evening to all of you.
नहीं बता रहे सर हाँ तो नहीं पड़ेगा यहाँ से रोड पे तक जाओगे
A very pleasant good morning to good evening to everyone. Today, I am privileged to host this in-house session on Bloom's taxonomy. Everyone must be wondering why this topic must be recalling their B.Ed classroom. Actually, with the introduction of NAP, where outcome-based education is focused, it becomes important for everyone to go through the scientific method of learning of child, which is clearly explained in Bloom taxonomy. Now the question arises, what is outcome-based education? Outcome-based education demands outcomes. It is totally centered around students. This is not only about the teaching, but teaching learning process, which is simultaneous, where teachers are also learning in this process. It is totally on outcomes. Now, what are outcomes? Outcomes are in the form of KS. K stand for knowledge, A stand for attitude, and S for skill. These all the outcomes are clearly stated as program outcome, and course outcome, and they are related with the vision, mission, and program learning objective. All this type of learning find its roots in Bloom taxonomy. How this vision of NEP can be achieved. It has bifurcated the whole learning program in few heads. Let us brief some important terms. Program education objective. This statement describes that the expected achievement of graduates in their career and what graduates are expected to perform and achieve during the first few years after graduation. Means after completing education, what students are doing. They have engaged themselves in a job, services, entrepreneurship, or in higher education, how they are utilizing their education. The feedback is sometimes the feedback is taken from the employer, what the student have learned in their education process and the skill they have acquired fulfill the demand of the job. So the program education objective means preparing the preparing the child for jobs, services, entrepreneurship, or for the higher studies. The next is program outcome, or some disciplines called it as program learning outcome, that is PLOs. Program outcomes are narrow statements that describe what the students are expected to know and would be able to do upon graduation. These relate the skill, knowledge, behavior that the student acquired through this program. Means engineering college have different program outcome, B.Ed college have different program outcome, architecture college have different program outcome, and so on. But every course or the curriculum has some outcome. So these parameters are called as graduate attributes and they vary from discipline to discipline. Next is course learning outcome. Course learning outcome are also the narrowed statements and some of the discipline called it as course learning outcome, that is CLO, that describes what the students are expected to know and be able to do at the end of each course or the subjects. Now, as we are running number of courses, we are not just talking about the higher education or the higher institution, but this learning outcome is equally applicable to the schools also. Take for example, class 8 student is learning different subjects like science, maths, social studies, physics, chemistry, and so many. Each subject have their outcome. He is gaining something from all different subjects. All this outcome combine to match with program outcome. But sometimes single course may be mapped with multiple programs or multiple course can be mapped with single program. This is for the teachers to decide the course objective, what the student will learn after teaching that subject matter. Take for example, English teacher started with the noun. At the end of the chapter, the students are able to classify different types of noun and all the rules of noun they are required to be followed. This is known as outcome. So the course and outcome both are interrelated with each other. Course is set by teachers and outcome is the answer after teaching that course. So these are called as course learning outcome. They are mapped to the POs and are not necessarily to be the single. Next is program specific outcome. These are what the student should be able to do at the end of graduation. The PSOs are program specific. PSOs are written by department offering the program and it is decided by head of the institution with the help of HODs and the department experts. Suppose a student has completed architectural degree. The student should have the knowledge, attitude of architectural skill. The engineering college is running different streams like in software engineering, mechanical engineering, chemical engineering, and so on. The degree is same. but the skill or outcome that comes from the student following specific program is different. Attitude and the skill define what specific attributes or a skill the student possesses. So this is a specific program outcome which is related only to the specific subject, and it is decided by the attitudes or the knowledge, special knowledge the student possesses that the student possess. These are the important highlights on which the NEP is based. That is PEO, PEO, CO, PSO. The soul of every program is skill, knowledge, and behavior that the student acquire as they are going through specific course with the program. All this is possible only after going through the scientific method of learning. And this method of learning was suggested in Bloom's taxonomy. That is why this session is on Bloom's taxonomy. Now, a very simple questions are coming on your ways. Like, do you think that learning involves mind, emotion, and sensory motors or a skill simultaneously? Yes, my friends. Do you think that learning involves mind, emotion, or the sensory motors or a physical simultaneously? Do you think that emotions play the important role in learning? Do you think that learning help in building character of a person? Yes, I know the answer of all is positive. Now, everyone unanimously agree to all the points. I want you to introduce to a person who dragged the attention of world in this aspect of learning. Yes, his name is Dr. Benjamin Samuel Bloom. He is an psychologist. He is an American psychologist who made contribution in the classification of educational objective and theory of mastery of learning. He received his bachelor and master's degree in 1935 and PhD in education in 1942. He encouraged active learning teaching that promoted higher level of thinking that is called as HOTS, higher HOT, that is higher order thinking. After great contribution in the field of education, he died at the age of 86 in 1999. The Bloom, along with his team, believed that the student 95% of the test question encounter required them to think at the lowest possible level. So he framed the taxonomy. What is taxonomy? Taxonomy is the Greek word which means arrangement, and nomos means science. So, taxonomy is a branch of science concerned with classification. The Bloom taxonomy is defined as classification system used to define and distinguish different level of human cognition, that is thinking, learning, and understanding. Or this report was originally published in 1956 in the University of Chicago by the team of cognitive psychologists. The Bloom in the first time believed that there should be the integration of head, heart, and hands or body in the process of learning. If the learner involves minds with his emotion and coordination of physical movement, he will not be able to forget it throughout his life. According to the Bloom, the only intellectual skill of the child is not important. How the child is behaving after completing the course, whether he is able to apply his knowledge, whether he has acquired new thing, or he is good enough to create new thing. We should think of overall development or the holistic development of the child. To, for the holistic development, he divided the learning into three domains, that is cognitive domain, affective domain, and psychomotor domain. So the Bloom taxonomy is a set of three hierarchical models used to classify educational learning objectives into the level of simplicity to complexity. The three lists cover the learning objective into cognitive, affective, sensory motor, or the psychomotor domain. Let us brief each domain. Cognitive domain. The skill in the cognitive domains revolves around knowledge, comprehension, and critical thinking on particular subject. So the cognitive domain is mainly related with the mind or the mental ability or the knowledge of the learner. Then second is affective domain. The skill in affective domain describes the way people react emotionally and aims to increase awareness and improves attitude, emotions and feeling. So it is related with emotion and generating the interest of a child in the process of learning. The third domain is psychomotor domain. The skill in the psychomotor domains deal with the skill-based learning. Skill involves capacity to build or manipulate tools or instruments. So in psychomotor domain, the students are able to apply what they have learned. That is their skill. They will be able to create new things or they can work with the previous thing. The three sets given by the three domains given by the Bloom is divided into various levels. Like cognitive domain is divided into 6 level, affective domain is divided into 5 level, and psychomotor domain is divided into 5 levels. Initially, Initially, the Bloom gave the cognitive domain and he labeled the levels as first level he called it as knowledge, second level he called it as comprehension, third level he called it as application, fourth level is analysis, fifth level is synthesis, and sixth level is evaluation. But in 2001, the student of Bloom only, that is Lauren Anderson, made some modifications. He realized that the terms that are used are not an active term but categories. These are nouns and the teaching is active learning process. So verb is better designated than noun. So the theory was revised in 2001 and for the noun knowledge, remembering is the best verb. For the noun comprehension, understanding is the best verb. For the noun application, applying is the best verb. For the noun analysis, analyzing is the best verb. Analyzing is the best verb. The most significant change was the removal of synthesis and addition of creating at the highest level of Bloom taxonomy. Just like the original taxonomy, the revised version provides a valuable framework for teachers, trainers, and instructional designers to use to focus on higher order thinking. By providing the hierarchy of thinking, the revised version can help in developing performance tasks and creating questions. So the revised version was more universal and was applicable at elementary, secondary, as well as in adult learning. Adult learning. Let us see each level. We will start with the cognitive. We will start with the cognitive domain. Cognitive domain is responsible for development of intellectual skills. It is divided into 6 skills in ascending order of complexity. The first level in this domain is remembering. It is the lowest level of cognitive domain. Here, the child recall, recall the memory. For just as the child has learned the table of 2 in the class. If the guest comes to the child and he was instructed by his mother to say the table of 2, then he will start saying 2 ones are 2, 2 twos are 4, 2 threes are 6. and so on. What he is doing? He is just recalling what he has already learned. Now, at the level of remembering, the question clues or the verbs that is useful for the teachers are choose, define, find, how, label, list, match, name, omit, recall, relate, select, show, spell, tell, what, when, where, which, who, and why. So this is a first level. The second level of cognitive domain is understanding. In understanding, the child or the learner grasps the meaning of content or material. It is little higher level than remembering. In this category, the child expresses himself by translation or interpretation or extrapolate. For example, in our previous example, if the child understands that if 2 is added 2 times, it will make 4. If 2 is added 3 times, it will make 6. If 2 is added 4 times, it will make 8, and so on. Now he is understanding what he has already learned. So the verbs or the question clues that are useful for the teachers in understanding is classify, compare, contrast, demonstrate, explain, extend, illustrate, infer, interpret, outline, relate, phrase, show, summarize, and translate. The third level in the cognitive domain is applying. Here, the child will apply the knowledge which he has already acquired. Suppose the mother has given to the child 100 rupees to buy an ice cream from the ice cream hawker. Ice cream cost 10 rupees and he returned 90 rupees. Now he is applying the knowledge which he is actually knowing. He is applying what he has already learned. So, applying refers to the ability to use the principle or ideas in different situations from one which he has originally learned. The question clues or the verbs that are useful for the teachers in applying is apply, build, choose, construct, develop, experiment with, identify, interview, make use of, model, organize, plan, select, solve, and utilize. Analyzing. This is a fourth level of cognitive domain. Here, the learner will break down his knowledge and will analyze it. For example, the child went to the departmental store instructed by the mother to buy a shampoo. He has different varieties of companies of shampoo, and every company is enjoying some rebate or a discount on its. Here, after deducting 10 or 15%, the child will analyze which shampoo will cost less to him. Now, he is analyzing all that he has learned. He is analyzing his information. The question clues or the verbs that are used by the teachers in this level is analyze, assume, categorize, classify, compare, conclusion, contrast, discover, dissect, distinguish, divide, examine, function, inference, inspect, list, motive, relationship, simplify, survey, take part in, test for, and themes. Next level is evaluating. Evaluating means presenting or defending the opinion by making judgment. How? Now the child will judge the shampoos of a different categories and deducting the discount or the rebate, he will go with the weight. Which shampoo will weigh more with that given cost? So he is now evaluating. He is making a judgment about the thing. So judgment is about the value of material and methods for the given purpose. The question clues or the verbs that are used by teachers at this level is agree, appreciate, assess, award, compare, conclude, criteria, criticize, decide, redact, defend, determine, disapprove, estimate, evaluate, explain, importance, influence, interpret, judge, and justify and mark. The last level in the cognitive domain or the highest level in the cognitive domain is creation. Here, the learning outcome in this area are highest in the cognitive hierarchy because they contain the elements of all other categories plus the conscious value of judgment. After analyzing various offers, cost, price, weight, he will definitely come to conclusion of one and he will buy one shampoo for his mother. So the question clues or the question clues or the verbs that are used by teachers in this regard is adopt, build, change, choose, compare, delete, develop, discuss, elaborate, formulate, happens, imagine, influence, make up, maximize, modify, originate, plan, predict, propose, solve, suppose, text, and theory. So these are the various levels, six level of a cognitive domain that we have studied, and it is the first step in the teaching learning process. We can see the simple with a simple example all the levels of cognitive domain. Suppose if we want to learn about lemon, we will recall the shape, color, size, and that they are star. Once we remember all these essentially meaningless facts, we move on to the second level. That is, understanding lemon is yellow when it's ripe to eat, and if we take a bite, it is really super sour. We also understand that lemon loves sunlight and they contain lot of vitamin C, which is a great source of natural and antioxidant that keeps us healthy. Now, as we really understand lemon, we can work with it. That is applying our knowledge. A third level we apply. What we know, we have understood that while lemons are sour, they are great provider of vitamin C. To apply this knowledge in a meaningful way, we could boil lemon into hot water, add some honey, and then serve it to our sick sister who is really in need of treatment. In the fourth level, we analyze. This involves examining the lemon flesh, examining the skin, and looking at different levels of vitamins. We conclude that we can eat everything inside while the skin tastes bitter and contains traces of pesticide. It ought not to be consumed. In the next level, we evaluate. Lemon is a good source of vitamin. We compare it with the other source, such as orange or supplements. We'll look at the following qualities like vitamin level, affordability, taste, and packing wastage, etc. We evaluate our thought critically and without bias. We learn that where lemon scores high and where other scores higher. Now, after we have learned, understood, applied, analyzed, evaluate, we are ready to create. As we know really, as we now really understand lemons in comparison to similar things, we can formulate a plan to create a sweet natural lemonade shop. It is now easy to come up with a cute shop design with a good name like Sweet Lemons and a good slogan like natural, healthy, and yummy. This is all the six levels of cognitive domain. Now, with the simple questions on the cognitive domain, I think we can assess ourselves now. Which domain is not included in a Bloom taxonomy? A. Cognitive, B. Locomotor, and C. Affective, D. Psychomotor. The answer is B. Locomotor. Locomotor is not the domain of Bloom taxonomy. Question 2. A child is able to tell that dog is a living thing and fan is non-living thing. Which learning objective is shown to be achieved by the child? A is remembering, B is applying and D is analysis. Yes, the answer is understanding. Now who is understanding? What is the difference between living and non-living? Question number 3. A child is able to make a right decision after thinking. What kind of learning objective is this? Evaluation, B understanding, C analysis, or D remembering? The answer is yes, A evaluation. Then question number 4. A teacher writes instructional objectives as by the end of this lesson, the student will be able to use verb in their sentences. The subdomain or the level of learning in which objective will fall will be knowledge, B understanding, C analysis, and D application. Yes, the answer is D application. At the last, the student can apply their knowledge. This is a summarized of all the levels of cognitive domain, that is remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluation, and then creation. The second domain in the Bloom taxonomy is effective domain. The effective domain was detailed by Bloom, Cattrall, Messier in 1973. The word effective comes from the Latin word effectus, which means feeling. It deals with the things, emotions such as feeling, value, appreciation, enthusiasm, motivation, and attitude. The child interacts the learning process and incorporate motivation and enthusiasm. He will use in life and he will appreciate and will have a different attitudes and personality. The 5 major categories are listed from simplest behavior to most complex, like cognitive objective. Effective objective can be divided into the 5 hierarchy, that is receiving, responding, valuing, organization, and characterization. Let us brief each level. The first level is receiving. It refers to the willingness of student to attend the particular phenomena or a stimuli. Take for example, the teacher is taking some subject matter. Some students are answering, some students are not. The reason can be that they are not interested in the subject or topic, or their mind or concentration was not there, or the simple reason they do not like the teaching style. So the interest of child is important for receiving. So it deals with the learner's memory and recognition. Without this level, no learning will occur. The second level is responding. Here, the child starts responding. It refers willingness to participate. When students are sufficiently motivated, they respond or actively attend and thus find pleasure or enjoy the activity. Now, the child is no more a passive learner. The child is active participant. He will respond. He will participate in group discussion and he will present his opinion. He will search answer for all his questions and he will even answer all questions asked by the teacher also. The next level in this domain is valuing. Here, here the attitude and appreciation is included. All the things that he has learned, he will start giving value. If student receives and respond information, he start valuing it. For example, English teacher suggested that reading is good habit. It will enhance your vocabulary, communication skill, and will give you confidence. So he will start reading the newspapers, novels, books, etc. The science teacher suggested that healthy food is important for building immunity. The children should not go for junk food. This sets in the mind of a child and value this in their day-to-day life. The next level in this domain is organizing, bringing together the different values and resolving the conflict between them. Here, the internal values are built. Here, the child will develop the level of comparison, assessment, and balancing. The child will develop discrimination, which value is more important than other, and he will balance and organize all the values. For example, the students know that sports is good for them, but with the outbreak of exams, he will decide at this time the studies are more important than sports. The last level in this domain is characterization. It is the highest level of effective domain. An individual responds in relation to the values that he has internalized and develop a character. All the values that a learner will learn during the learning process and all attitudes and attributes that he has gained during the learning process will become integral part of his personality. It will be reflected in his behavior. So the characteristic here, all the values are given shape. The behavior therefore becomes more cohesive, consistent, and predictable. So this is a summarization of effective domain. That is the second domain. The child receives the information. He starts responding the information. He starts giving value to the information for the learning object that he has learned. He start comparing, balancing and imbalancing at the organization level all the values, attitudes, attributes, what he has learned during the learning process will become the part of his character. This is a summary of effective domain. Let us solve a simple questions for on the effective domain as well. How many levels of how many levels How many levels are there in effective domain? 7, 5, 3 or 9? Answer is 5. Which of the following is the final outcome of effective domain? Change behavior, knowledge creation, better understanding of concepts or higher examination score? Answer is change behavior. Question number 3. A child who has the habit of reading science magazine also like to participate in science festival and science club. Which objective is displayed by its knowledge, interest, application or attitude? Yes, the answer is attitude. Okay. Let us conclude this domain with a simple prayer in these words that since emotion draw both attention and channel a strong residual memory, it is duty of all dedicated and artful educator to include effective objective no matter what their discipline or area of study. The next domain in this is a psychomotor domain. A very popular model of psychomotor domain was established by R.H. Dave. It includes the physical movement, coordination and use of motor skill. Development of this skill requires practice and is measured in terms of speed, precision, distance, procedure or technique in execution. It is related with physical movement or physical skill. For performing any activity, muscles are used, which in turn means using motor skill. Now, the motor skill is again of two types, gross motor skill and fine motor skill. Gross motor skill like walking, running, etc. Fine motor skill means movement of eyelids and writing. So we can use any body part for doing action. It is called as physical movement. Therefore, all physical movement and its coordination are covered under psychomotor domain. We can measure it in terms of speed, precision, distance, procedure, or technique in execution. Like other two domain, this domain is also studied in 5 levels. It is divided into 5 levels. It starts with imitation at a lowest level, then manipulation, precision, articulation, and naturalization. Let us brief each level. First is imitation. It refers to the learning ability of a learner to perform an action by copying a more skillful person. Here, a child observes a person in surrounding and he copied the skill performed by him. Basically, he has more experienced person and will try to repeat it. It is trial and error stage as it is a first stage. The second level in it means that learner is able to perform and act according to the given instruction rather than doing an imitation. Here, visual observation and direction are not required. He will perform any action by using his memory or following the instructions. Instruction can be given in two ways, that is written instruction by writing in the blackboard or in the piece of paper, or the oral instruction. The oral instructions are given and the learner will complete the task. The third level is precision. At this stage, the child will have no assistance. He will perform his task more accurately and skillfully, and actions are more precise, more, more perfect, and more smooth. In imitation, he had a person around him and he's copying. And in manipulation, he will have written or the oral instruction. But in precision, he has attained the skill. So he will gain accuracy in performing various acts and it increases with the practice. Then next level is articulation. Here multiple skills can be performed by the child. For example, in preparing a video, the child uses color, sound, other effects and drama, music, etc. for preparing a video. So the multiple skill is attained by the child at this level. Naturalization, that is the highest level or the final level. The internalized skill and an individual is able to adapt, modify or design new technique, method or procedure according to the requirement of situation. Whatever the skill the child has learned will become the part of his character, will become the part of his nature. Now it is very natural. For example, it is easy for the swimmer to come across water whatsoever thought going inside his mind. But for non-swimmer, it is the condition of do or die. The child will try to create something new by his skill and ability. Whatever the skill he will perform, it will be very natural, smooth and effortless. From low level to high level, from simple to complex. So this is a summarized form of psychomotor domain. That is, the child will copy in manipulation. The child will have oral or written instruction. In precision, the child will have no instructions, but he is more skillful. In articulation, the child will have more multiple skill, and naturalization, all the skill will become the part of his character. So the Dev psychomotor domain is simplest and naturally easiest to apply. It captures the level of competence in the stage of learning from initial exposure to final mastery. So this domain can be assessed with the simple questions. Which of the following is a domain of learning? A. Experiential. B. Psychomotor. C. Spiritual. And D. Professional. So the answer is psychomotor. B. Question 2. A student is able to draw geometric figure with great efficiency. Which objective is student related to? A. Interests, attitude, skill, or knowledge? Yes, the answer is skill. Question 3. Which subdomain or a level belong to psychomotor domain? A. Evaluation. B. Manipulation. C. Application. D. Characterization. Yes, the answer is B. Manipulation. Okay, final question. What will be your first step while making a lesson plan on a resource topic? A. To select material of teaching material, to set objective, to read the topic several times, to prepare questions related to introduction. Yes, answer is B. To set objective. Now, why this taxonomy took a specific form? This taxonomy took a specific form because it promotes the higher order of thinking in education than remembering or the rote learning. It is a main guide, it is a main assessment tool to the teachers to set a question, that is test or the evaluation of students and curriculum, that is unit, lesson plan, project and other learning activities, and instructional method such as question. Now the conclusion, Bloom taxonomy is a powerful tool to develop the learning objective because it explains the process of learning. Before learning, learner understand a concept, he must remember it. To apply a concept, learner must first understand it. In order to evaluate a process, learner must have analyzed it. To create an accurate conclusion, learner must have a complete and thorough evaluation. So it is now clear that educators love Bloom because it gave them a way to think about their teaching and the subsequent learning of the students. It was believed that Bloom taxonomy is an attempt to move. It was believed that Bloom taxonomy is one of the most recognized and used educational tool that attempts to move the student beyond the simple memorization. Just like the framework he developed demonstrate his unfailing belief in the power of education, both for the welfare of individual and for the betterment of society. His taxonomy, his theory of learning, and his stages of talent development are enduring legacy to the education. This is all about the Bloom taxonomy. So Bloom taxonomy, it is divided into three domains. That is cognitive domain. Cognitive domain has 6 levels. That is remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating and creating. Then the effective domain again have the 5 levels starting from the simple level of receiving, responding, valuing, organization and characterization. The last level, that is a psychomotor domain, that is given by Dave. is having a 5 levels, that is imitation, manipulation, precision, articulation, and naturalization. So in the first level of remembering, the child will recall his memory. He will recall what he has previously learned. In understanding, the child will able to grasp the meaning of content or material. It is a higher level than remembering. In third level, that is knowledge, he will use the knowledge in particular or concrete situation. He will use it in a different situation from the original one. Analysis, he will break down all communication into the different elements or parts. Evaluation, he will present or defend the opinion by making judgment about information, validity of ideas, or quality of work based on set of criteria. In the last level, that is creating, he will put together different part what he has learned. It emphasizes the ability of making something new, of bringing ideas into into together, providing new insight and helping the people to create a new things. Now, in the first level of receiving, the child is willing to receive. The child is willing to learn. In the second level, the child will respond. He is not a passive listener, but he is actively participating. He will participate in a group discussion, he will answer all the questions, and even he will have some queries. In third level, he started giving values. Whatever he has learned, he will started giving it value in his day-to-day life or in day-to-day routine. In organization, different values are assembled. They are arranged. Though there may be conflict between different values, but he will develop a degree of discrimination, that which value he has to adopt and which value he has to drop. Now, in characterization, all the different values that the student or the learner or the child has learned will become the part of his character. It will be reflected by his attitude and attributes. In psychomotor domain, the first level is imitation. Here, the learner learn by copying a work of art. The verbs that are used are copy, imitate, follow, mimic, perform, repeat, replicate, reproduce, and trace. Second level, in manipulation, the verbs that are used are act, will, execute, perform, complete, accomplish, follow, play, and produce. In manipulation, he is not imitating. Now he is knowing. Only the instructions are given in oral or the written form. In third level, the verbs that are used are achieve automatically, excel, excel expertly, perform masterfully, demonstrated skill, and calibrate perfectly. Now he has already acquired the skill and he is performing it with a great precision, and his skills are effortless to him now. In articulation, the verbs that are used are adapt, construct, combine, create, customize, modify, formulate, alter, and originate. In articulation, the learner is having the multiple skill. Naturalization, the verbs that are used in naturalizations are create, design, develop, invent, mango naturally and perform, manage naturally and perform perfectly. In naturalization, all the skill will become the part of personality of learner. He can adapt, modify, or design the new techniques or methods of procedure according to the requirement of situation. This is all the three domains of the Bloom's taxonomy and the various levels that are described by Dr. Benjamin Bloom. Now we can conclude this session by the words of Dr. Benjamin Bloom that talent is not something to be found in few, it is to be developed in many. We greatly thank Doctor that he will be remembered for introduction of educator to the world of possibility.
Very nice, Manju ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. I think Principal sir was busy from morning, so he has left. So I request our Vice Principal ma'am to say some words.
Good evening to one and all again. I was really so much influenced and my knowledge got enhanced by such a beautiful presentation. The examples which you gave from day-to-day learning for children was superb. So in one go, I will say that is an excellent session. Very simply put, very nicely presented.
Thank you, ma'am, so much.
The attendance link has been shared. I request all the teachers to fill the attendance, and those who are still not haven't completed the 25 hours of in-house session are requested to attend all the forthcoming sessions. Next week we are having on 27th, next Friday, and some more are there. It will be informed later on. If anybody wants to ask something, may ask. Otherwise, we can request Manju ma'am to take rest, because it was a long session for 1 hour without any videos. You're muted, ma'am. Manju ma'am, you're muted.
Sir, actually it was fully theoretical.
Yeah,
And I think that it would
that's
not
why I
bore
said.
anyone in
No, it
any
was a long
point.
session. I can understand you're tired now. So if anybody wants to ask, otherwise we can allow her to leave.
Thank you everyone for your cooperation and motivation.